Tao Jun, the older sister of Tao Ren, an evil Daoshi at the beginning, to eventually becoming one of the most important female characters of the Shaman King series. I'm Shady, the tribal chief of the Shaman tribe, and in this video I just want to discuss her journey through the series, from being someone completely brainwashed by her family to her helping out our main cast of heroes in the crucial clutch moments of this series. In my opinion, I feel Jun is very overlooked in this series. I could be wrong, maybe she isn't, and she is actually one of the most talked about characters in the series through the fans. However, in my opinion, I don't think she is talked about enough, and in fact I believe her character arc is heavily underrated. Although she was a character mainly in the background, she was still an important character nonetheless. Her journey starts off as an evil Daoshi. She was a real cold-hearted monster at the beginning, dismissing Li Pyron's feelings as if he is just a tool. In fact, Jun and Ren were taught from childhood that their spirit allies are tools and nothing more. There was no empathy or human emotion from Jun and Ren, but because this is a Jun video, I'll be mainly talking about Jun. All her life, for 17 years, she has been taught one way of life, and that is to be ruthless and shut out all people outside of her family. We see this on her introduction from chapter 11, and when she eventually meets Yo and challenges him from the next chapter, chapter 12. She is exactly like Ren, confident, cold, and ruthless, and is not afraid to get her hands dirty, as we see her making a new talisman spell with her own blood, clearly showing us she doesn't care and only cares about the results. Tao Ren's brainwashing of Jun was successful. He managed to create a full-on female killing machine with both Jun and Li Pyron. She has to take care of her family, and that is what she was doing by taking out Yo as a threat to Ren before the start of the Shaman tournament, by trying to steal Amidomaru away from Yo. Ren's brainwashing was successful until the fight with Yo and Amidomaru, where we see the crack slowly turning from Jun. Jun actually seemed human. She was showing emotion when she was showing concern and confusion when Pyron was disobeying her, and eventually gained full control back of himself and started attacking everyone under the sun in an explosion of rage. Yo's speech of spirit allies having feelings of their own broke through to Pyron, as we see him crying underneath his talisman. Jun looked at him with such disgust. I bet you Jun and Ren were not even allowed to cry growing up, as that is showing weakness. But her losing control of Pyron is the best thing that has ever happened to her. This was the turning point for her growth as a person. The Shaman King cast is full of morally grey characters. Heroes could have criminal pasts, and villains could have been heroes and icons in their past. Jun falls in the former, as a villain turning into a side hero. The first unlocking of her potential as a good person is when she actually lost control of Pyron and had a mental breakdown over this fact. It's because she's human and had an emotional reaction like how any human would. Tao Ren, Hao Asakura, and you can also point to the X-Laws as well. When they make cruel decisions, they have no reaction. It's like business as usual. Even when they have setbacks, it's like it's not that big of a deal. Such as if Lyserg didn't follow Marco's or Jean's orders, they would just punish him for his disobedience. The emotion is not there. There is no empathy for the people they are hurting. And in the fight between Jun and Yo, by the end of the fight, Jun didn't think that Pyron would want her back as a partner because she was cruel to him, which is her showing empathy. And ever since then, she's been growing from strength to strength as a person. She stood up to her father, which is a very brave thing to do on her part, because guys, let's try and understand, she comes from a very strict family with superhuman expectations of their kids. She has never seen her dad in his true form. All she knows is this big monster of a man who's literally bigger than life. After 17 years, she stood up to him and questioned his authority, knowing that she would suffer the consequences or even die because she's standing up for herself. And she's doing all of this to set Ren free from his hatred of the world, which was installed to him by their dad. She is literally sacrificing herself for Ren, which is ironic because Tao Ren always told her to take care of the Tao family, as that is her duty and role, and she is doing that by standing up to their dad. In chapter 73, Jun says she didn't want to fight anymore or hurt anyone ever again, but she clocked on that there are some enemies that have to be stopped no matter what. In chapter 74, she straight up wants to kill N, even if it means dying fighting him. This isn't the only time she is laying her life on the line to protect others. In chapter 157, Jun saves Tamao and a few other characters who I won't mention because of spoilers, but she comes right in the last second to save everyone. And guys, we all know how strong Hao's minions are, and she and Pyron were taking on 3 of them by themselves as herself and Tamao were waiting for backup. She is literally everyone's older sister, and she is one of the healers of the group. Even in the final battle in the continent of Mu, she was willing to go there and take a stand against Hao, but obviously it was already too late. But the fact that she had the intention to go and help out as best as she can against the main antagonist with a mana of 1.25 million says a lot about her character. It shows that she is ready to die for everyone. Look at the contrast from the beginning of the series to the end. At the beginning, she was only thinking about the well-being of her family, but towards the end, she ended up helping out everyone she meets and is willing to stand up to the evil of this world, whether it's her dad or Hao and his minions. Jun for me is heavily overlooked as a character, and I just had to make a video about her explaining why she's such a good character and she deserves more credit than she is given, because her character arc can be summarized by saying that you should always stand up to bullies and abusers, which her dad was doing to her and Ren. It's a story arc right in the background of the story, but I want to give her some spotlight with this video. Please let me know what you think about Jun and her character arc in the comments down below. I'm Shady from the Shaman tribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.